Alright, hello everyone. Yeah, this is the first time I'm gonna try this. I'm not sure if people are gonna like it. I put a little post on the YouTube and I put a post on the Discord. And people like the idea of me just finishing my map that I'm currently making on stream and then just answering lore questions. So, first of all, tell me if you guys can even hear me and if the music isn't too loud. If we got all that out of the way, we can start with the thing at hand. Oh, this is the map that I started making like a week ago, and it's yeah, it's not that great yet, but it's a map of Southwest Tamriel, like the Altmary Dominion. It consists out of two parts. What music? Okay, the music apparently isn't too loud, so I'm gonna crank up the volume a little bit. Let's see if this... Okay, yeah, the music isn't too loud at the moment. Like, this is too loud, I think. It says that the desktop music should be working, so if it isn't, then I'll fix it. So, let's see, I'll put the stream here. Okay. Okay, we hear it now. Alright, so first of all I want to show you a little example of what this is supposed to become. I'll give me like a little second. Like, usually I make these kind of maps for myself. Wait. The one that's on the thumbnail, I sent that one to America to someone, so I don't have it here. But this is the kind of maps that I'll usually make. So you know what kind of things to expect. I don't expect to finish the one that I'm currently making of like the Dominion, to finish that one today, but I hope to start inking, because currently I'm only working with pencil and I'll still have to put down a lot of like city names and province names, and I hope that in the meantime we can just answer some lore questions. If you guys have questions, put them in the chat. I'll try to watch the chat. I'll put it here on my second screen. Wait, my example is here. And yeah, that way we can, I think, start working. I think I'm gonna start this way, and I'm gonna start with writing Somerset, because usually I am terrible at handwriting, but I'll always try to do it really carefully for my maps. But I am, yeah, so I'm gonna try to watch the chat a little bit. I'm gonna put it on my right screen, because otherwise I won't, probably. Alright, yeah. Why are you making a map? Just because I really like doing it. Unfortunately my cam is currently fixed, otherwise I would show you, because I have like 5 of my own made maps here in my room, and I'm getting a little better at it. A little. I mean, it's not all that interesting to watch, but I hope that by talking about lore we can just, you know, maybe do some useful things. Let's see if it's actually on the screen what I'm doing right now. Yeah, it is. High elves or low elves? High elves. Love your vids. You're the guy I always point to when someone is having a lore debate, and sometimes I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm wrong sometimes too. Alright, okay, I'm feeling kind of nervous even beginning at this, but I'm gonna try anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna try to watch the chat, and I'm also gonna try to concentrate a little bit on making the map. So I'm sorry if I miss your question, just repeat it and I might see it. But first we're gonna try and do the S for Somerset in the right way. Did I do it right? I think I did, but this is just a pencil. I mean, it's gonna be inked over, so sometimes I'll make double lines. First question: why do you think that people talk about Kim like it was real, when the only people who say something about it were Vivek, Cameron, who were two manipulative people? Well, the thing is that I believe there's a lot of stuff written on it by unofficial sources. And a lot of, I mean, I don't follow that actively, unfortunately, but if you follow that that's actively, then I think that there's more on it than just those two things that you can find in game. So if you're interested in it, then I'll really recommend checking out unofficial sources, because then you might learn some more about it. But I can't comment on if it's, well, good or wrong, because I don't know too much about it, unfortunately. Is Pelennor Whitestrake the strongest human that ever existed, or is it Talos? Well, I heard that there was a discussion. I'm not sure from what kind of place that discussion came, but that Pelennor Whitestrake might not even be human. If that's from official sources, the fact that he might not even be human, in that case he's definitely not the strongest human. But if that's not official sources, then I can say that he is probably stronger than Talos as a human. As a god, or ascended to godhood, whatever, I think Talos would be stronger, but Pelennor Whitestrake was exceptionally strong. So, honest answer is that I don't know, but I personally think that Pelennor Whitestrake gets the benefit of the doubt here. Does Nazim actually get to the Clouds District as much as he leads us to believe? Well, in lore he's apparently pretty influential in the Court of Whiterun. So I would suppose that he comes to the Cloud District very often. But then again, we are also coming to the Cloud District very often, as we have to talk to the Jarl a lot. So I think that we actually come more to the Cloud District than Nazim. So, you know, you can put that on your resume, I think. Let's see, how did the R go again? Yeah, like this. Let's see the chat. The Union of Imperial Socialist Republics, what? Do you think in lore all the different races speak their own languages, or do you think they all speak the common tongue? Well, I'm currently still in the process of doing the second reading of my second lore lecture on the big history thing. Unfortunately, that wound down a little bit during the holidays. However, in that lecture I talk about languages a little bit, and it's very likely that the elves and the humans have some sort of different languages, the different elf races and the different human races. Wait until that lecture comes out on YouTube, because that'll be more specific than on what I'm telling here. But they have their own language, and the Argonians also have their own language, and presumably the Khajiit also have their own language, but that language presumably stems from Old Elnofax, and that was the original language of the Elnofade, so the ancestors of both Men and Mer, and presumably also the ancestors of the Khajiit, but we're not sure on that yet. And I'm already completely butchering my handwriting, because I don't think this is quite good enough for the map. Oh no, that did wrong. Wait. I'm always trying to copy like the script on the official map, but it's not working right now. Usually it works pretty well, and there was a period where I could write it almost fluently, but right now, I mean flawlessly. But right now it's not really working out. As I said, my handwriting is pretty terrible. Alright, let's see. Hand reveal, yes, hand reveal. But Christmas was 2 weeks ago, yeah, I know, but in the meantime I'm still having holiday from my university. So it feels like I'm still in the Christmas holiday. But I know, I have to get going with all my stuff. But I'm just not doing it at the moment. I mean, I'm making videos again, that's positive, I think. Let's see, let's start with the dots for the cities. Wait, I'll show you which map I'll use as a... yeah, open file location. I'll just drop it in here to quickly show. This is the map that I'm trying to use as an example, like that corner of the map. I don't know if you'll get to see it. Yeah, you get to see it. That's the map I'm using as an example here on my second screen. But yeah. How can Argonians speak when they are reptiles and have reptile mouths? Well, simply because they're not really reptiles in the sense of a reptile. They are a creature that resembles a reptile that has been created by the Hist. So they gave them probably several humanoid functions, like speaking, for example, but they also gave them the lizard. Oh wait, I completely forgot to remove the... Oh shit, I did the wrong thing. But I completely, yeah, they probably gave them like lizard functions, and they gave them humanoid functions to get them to serve them better, because they're essentially the servants of the Hist. I mean, yeah. That's why they can do both speaking and such, because as a reptile they wouldn't be able to speak, but they did. Wait, what? Somebody just donated and I didn't even know that was possible on my stream, but thank you very much, Brady Cordage. If you can contact me on Discord, I will give you Patreon stuff, because you just donated $50. Please contact me, because I never had a donation before. Where's your accent from? It's killing me. I summed it up to different nations, but I can't seem to get any further. Help me out, please. P.S. I love your content, it's brilliant. Well, I live in the Netherlands and I am Dutch, so I say it in a couple of different videos, but seriously, Brady, 50, that's a little bit much, my boy. So contact me, I'll give you Patreon stuff, because I don't really know if I can accept this like this. But yeah. No, it's not 50 euros a year. But yeah, it's the Netherlands. Poland here. Well, hello Poland. Do you think when the Second Great War comes, Hammerfell will join/aid the Empire, being old allies and hating the Thalmor? Well, yeah. I talked about it quite a lot, and as usual on stream I don't have everything just in the back of my mind, just to sum it up for you. However, I am personally very convinced that the Empire and Hammerfell have some form of military alliance at this point, because they have a common enemy. They have a common enemy in the sense that the Thalmor are for full elven supremacy, and thus, as both human nations, they have both the interest of keeping themselves safe against that threat. So I feel that they are probably allies at this point, or in a Second Great War will ally with each other, because, I mean, the Thalmor are against both of them, so it would make some sense. Brady, what the fuck? Seriously, mate. Seriously, contact me. What the fuck? Okay, thank you very, very much. This is a bit much, but I'm really I'm really grateful. I don't know, can I give you like the rank in the chat? I believe there was a possibility to give ranks on YouTube. But thanks a lot. I had not expected this, and thank you so much. Seriously, contact me either on Discord or on email, because I have to give you Patreon stuff, because I really... This isn't... yeah, this dude is full of septums. What do you think if Hammerfell and the Empire will fight against the Thalmor? Well, they might do it eventually, but I don't think that the Thalmor would go into another war unprepared. I mean, if the Thalmor were to attack the Empire again, they now know what the Empire is capable of. I mean, they've been pretty much humiliated when they thought that they had a secure job during the Great War, and then suddenly their entire army was destroyed. I mean, sure, they still got a pretty sweet deal. They got a pretty sweet deal with the White Gold Concordat. However, it's still a bit of a humiliation, like I said in my Somerset video, because they probably propagandized it at home like, well, this is a done deal, we've already completely destroyed the Empire. And when they did that, and then suddenly lost the war, well, lost between brackets, that is probably not as positive back home. You can't really put a positive spin on that back home. So I personally think that if there will be another war, the Thalmor will be way better prepared, and that's why I won't really comment on what will happen during a Second Great War, because both sides will be way better prepared, knowing the facts from the first war. Let's see, this wasn't Stros Mackay, but I believe this was Sturk. I don't know if that was... Wait, let me check another map that I have above my desk. Yeah, it's Sturk, so I'll get it another dot. Okay, I'm gonna quickly get the other sheet. I'm gonna continue there. I'm sorry, I haven't really watched the chat. Let's see. Last questions. What do you think about Elder Scrolls 6? Maybe our childs will play it. Well, yeah, it's a long way off. I mean, That's something I wanted to say during the stream too. On Facebook, I don't really use Facebook, but I saw it on the internet. Jeremy Soule, the composer of the Elder Scrolls series, he said that he wasn't involved with the project at this point, and that it's really still early in development, and that it's probably ways off. So that must mean that, you know, it's gonna be a while. So we have to stay strong for the sake of Elder Scrolls 6. Do you think Vivek will appear in a future Elder Scrolls game? Well, I don't know. Maybe we will learn more about what happened to him, because he just disappeared. And I know that there are some sort of explanations in out-of-game unofficial sources. However, I feel like that in some game they will probably let us know what happened with him. I'm not sure on it, as in I want to bet money on it, but I think that they will probably do it, since it's one of the things that, if I haven't understood it wrong, it's one of the things that keeps the metaphysical side of the fanbase pretty busy, or not. That he ascended to godhood or something. Sorry, I really don't know much about the Vivek and the whole tribunal stuff, unfortunately. Let's see, is Riverhold... I mean, all the dots are a little bit big the way I make them now, like circles, but they will become smaller because I'll ink it, and then later I will make sure that everything gets erased under the ink. That's the way I usually do it. Do you think the Dunmer will recover later in the 4th era? Oh yeah, the Dunmer will recover eventually. Probably. I mean, they've gotten into some hard times in the early 4th era, but I think that they're already doing better now than that they were like in the beginning. I mean, we already know that they rebuilt much of Mournhold, even if it isn't too big of a city right now. Well, we know that they rebuild it to a certain extent. How often do you read the lore discussion on your Discord? Less than I should. I try to keep up with it a little bit. However, I have found that... sorry, let me in the meantime look for my ruler, because I forgot my ruler. I should pay more attention to it, and I try to keep up with it a little bit. But the lore discussion on my Discord, yeah, no, I look in it a lot, I just don't say a lot in it. Because usually whenever I am there, then a conversation has already passed. But it seems like I don't have any ruler close to me, so I'll have to do it without a ruler. Rip this thing. Which race did you pick when you first played Skyrim? I believe I did High Elf, because I wanted to play a mage, and they had like the best mage. What are Frost Giants? Are they the Kamal? Well, I believe that the Kamal were some type of Frost Giant. The Kamal race from Akavir, if people don't really know what I'm talking about. And the Kamal race, to my knowledge, are a sort of Ice Giant, but I personally think that the Ice Giants we find in Skyrim are different in the sense that they are not from Akavir. They might be similar in terms of like body build or anything like that, but they are not... It's really unlikely they are exactly the same creature. Oh, welcome, Avarti. Kamal was made out of ice, right? Yeah, I believe something like that. I don't know it from the top of my head, if I'm very honest with you. I'm sorry, I need to concentrate, otherwise I'll completely fuck up this. Yeah, I fucked it up, didn't... Yeah, I completely fucked it up. Oh no. Maybe I can still save the E, but the L is completely fucked. Alright. Let's see. How am I gonna fix this? Yeah. This is even worse. I mean, look at this. This is not an L. Friesland isn't Netherlands. Yes, it is. That's our periphery. What's in... you're interested about the Imperials and the Empire. Are you interested in the Roman Empire too? Well, to a certain extent, yeah. I really like history, and part of the parts of history that I really like is the Roman history. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna keep with this L. For Ponish, I have a video made on something like that, so I suggest checking it out. Use HB pencils. Well, maybe I should. Wait, this is an HB pencil. Look at it. It's like from a Dutch... Dutch store. It's bad. But it's an HB pencil. Oh no, wait, this has to be like this. Yeah. Elsewhere. It's not too bad. I mean, it's not like the best, but it's. Can we get an arm reveal? I mean, is this arm reveal? Sure. Seriously, Brady, stop it! Oh no, I feel so bad now. I feel so bad. No. I mean, thanks a lot, but I don't really deserve this. We got a Mr. Beast. Yeah, we have one. But seriously, man, hit me up on like Discord or email or whatever. I have to compensate something. I mean, I'm a bit, yeah. I don't know if I can take this. I mean, it's decent, I think. Sorry, I haven't really looked at the chat because I was focusing on my Valenwood and I have to erase some letters. Is there Dutch voice acting in Skyrim? Well, some people seem to think that Varangar is voiced by a Dutch guy because the accent seems similar to me. Seriously, Brady, I know... Thank you so much, but still... What do you think about Jeremy Soule apparently not working on Elder Scrolls 6 of Hardy? I just said that, I think, just before you entered the stream. I talked about it a little bit. Jeremy Soule said on his Facebook that he isn't currently working on Elder Scrolls 6. But he also said that it's probably ways off, so that it's still waiting to be a creative decision by Bethesda. So at this point we can either make the conclusion that he isn't working on Elder Scrolls 6, or we can make the conclusion that Elder Scrolls 6 is so early in development that, yeah, Jeremy hasn't even been asked. Like, that's a possibility. Let's see, yeah, I think it's decent with the Valenwood there, but I should try to maybe stretch it out a little bit like this, but I have time for that later. I can still do that. I'm first gonna work on the city named, I think. Wait, I've completely forgot Firsthold here and Skywatch. Can you answer this question? If the Dragonborn has children, are they Dragonborn as well? Or are they just Dragon blood as they lack the soul portion? Well, that's a hard question, because there's been a lot of debate over whenever all of the Septim dynasty were actually Dragonborn, as in if they could shout or not. A lot of people think that they just all had the dragon blood, and that they didn't have the capability to shout, and that thus they didn't have the soul of a dragon. It's very possible that works the same with the Dragonborn that we see in our game. That some of his children may have the soul of a dragon, but that's mostly just the dragon blood. And even then, we don't quite know if it's just a ceremonial thing to call it the dragon blood, or if it's if it's like a biological thing. We don't quite know, unfortunately. Let's see, I'm gonna start with Sturk, I think. You know, usually I'm doing a better job at this writing, but like kind of, I don't know, being nervous for the stream, I guess. It's not really working out all that good. Or I'm just too perfectionistic. Like, this isn't really too great. Wait, let me show you. Yeah, like this. I mean, it's okay, but I'm not satisfied. Imperial knowledge. Slavery is still practiced in Morrowind. I don't know. I think that if they are still in the Empire, which we don't know, that slavery might still be abolished. But if they are independent, like some sources suggest, others suggest that they are not independent and that they are part of the Empire. But if they are still part of the Empire, then I personally think that slavery is still very much abolished. But we don't know. There's also theories that the Dragonborn is the Shazarian. Yeah, somebody told me about that theory. Like, I think in the first year of Imperial Knowledge, somebody told me about that theory. But I'm personally not that too much into that kind of theories. However, it sounded very convincing. But I don't know if like the thing that he can sit on Shor's throne, I don't know if that's a thing where it's just a design oversight by Bethesda, or if it's really intended. I mean, it sounds good enough to be intended. Like, only Shor or one of his incarnations can sit on his throne, and then in Sovngarde you can sit on his throne. I mean, it sounds very convincing, but it could also very well be a design oversight. So let's wait until we get maybe anything confirmed, if anything ever. And Marcus, I am seeing your messages, but you have to know that you just live in South Netherlands, so I don't know what you're saying about Belgium. Can you tell something more about the Psijic Order? Because you have a really big knowledge and I like to approach this part of the lore. Well, I can't say too much about it at this point. I was preparing to do a video on the Psijic Order, but then the Somerset Isles DLC for the Elder Scrolls Online was announced. And I decided, well, let's do it after I played that. Problem is that I have it now, the DLC, but I still haven't played it. So I can't tell too much detail. But I see Mr. Beans on Fridays here in the chat, and I know that he played almost everything that there is to play in Elder Scrolls Online. So maybe he can tell you about the Psijic Order part, if you ask him nicely. And otherwise, you'll have to wait until I play it, and that might take a while. I'm really sorry. Do you think Night Paladin Galabor was an aspect of Ariel? I heard that theory. It's pretty convincing, but I don't feel like that I have like the knowledge base to really tell you if it's a convincing enough theory for me. Because, I mean, it depends on how you tell me a theory. If you tell me a theory real good, then I mean I'll believe anything. But when I mean my knowledge base is not necessarily good enough to tell you if that theory could be true or not, unfortunately. But, yeah. Imperial knowledge. Do you think all cultures in Tamriel or... Sorry, can you explain your question, Ataro? I read it, but I don't... What's your favorite race and class for roleplay? Usually just a one-handed sword and shield Imperial. I don't know, I just like it. We must spread the memes, okay. Did you hear the next expansion will probably be in Elsewhere? I heard it. I heard it. I actually really like the fact that they're putting it in Elsewhere, because putting it in Elsewhere means that we're getting more Elsewhere content, and I felt that was really lacking in Elder Scrolls Online. So, I mean, we only had like the island, and we had a small part of Valenwood border where it was like kind of Elsewhere-y. Beans on Friday, you got blocked the message. Wait, I'll show it with dumbass dragons too. But I heard that dragons were actually still there in the second era, so it's not necessarily lore breaking. I would love to see more Khajiit races. Yeah, I completely agree. But I don't know if they'll add that, because I hope that they add more of the Khajiit races. I just hope it. But yeah, I hope it. I hope it. But I can't say too much about it. Only Imperials have ever claimed Alduin was the same as Akatosh. What do you mean to say by that? Explain your question, Red, or explain your comment. It wasn't really a question. And more Khajiit lore. Yeah, I would love more Khajiit lore. The time in the games and the lore is organized in eras, but it's impossible that all cultures of Tamriel organize the time in the same way. Oh yeah, that's true. However, usually English. Whatever era you are placed in is usually just determined by the dominant culture on Tamriel. Like, if I'm the Dragonborn, I can just say, well, to me this is the 5th era. For example, whenever I defeated Alduin. The problem is I can't really do that, because nobody will listen to me. So far the eras, every time one started, it started with the first era by the Camoran dynasty, which was by far the dominant force on Tamriel at that point. The founding of the Camoran dynasty, they were the first real organized empire, if I'm correct. You can correct me if that's not true. But, I mean, usually the eras are getting determined by the new dominant force, because then everybody has to listen to you about your new era. Like Tiber Septim saying when he conquered all of Tamriel, this is the 3rd era. I mean, who's gonna say no? All of Tamriel is basically under his rule. So who's gonna say no to his, you know, now it's the new era. It's a bit big, but I think it's still good, the Eleanor. Would you like to see it if Elder Scrolls 6 were placed in Iliac Bay? To be honest, I would like Elder Scrolls 6 to be anywhere as long as I'm getting it, but I think it could be interesting to revisit Iliac Bay. But to be honest, they did all of Iliac Bay in Elder Scrolls Online as well, so while I'll take it, and it's probably very enjoyable, I would like to have it in a place that neither Elder Scrolls Online or any other game covered. For example, Elsewhere, but Elsewhere is probably going to be the DLC for Elder Scrolls Online, so I have no idea, but we'll see it. Will you make a video about dragon breaks? Good question, and probably no. Let me explain why, because I do not think that I am qualified to really explain it to you, because somebody once explained the dragon breaks to me, and I mean, you can go really deep into that lore, and with those kind of subjects, I really feel that if I were to explain it, I mean, usually my theories are very grounded and are not really going too much into, like, overthinking it. I have some of them, but not much of them. And that's because I look at things from a more surface level. And if I have to be honest with you, if I think that if I explained dragon breaks, that would not be a satisfactory explanation for anyone watching it. So that's why I mostly just did not do anything about dragon breaks. I'm sorry if it... you know, disappoints you. Do you think we'll ever see more of Akavir? I just saw that comment. I hope. Maybe in a flashback or something. I hope that we can see something of Akavir. But then again, they are not really too fond on doing things outside of Tamriel. Not even in Elder Scrolls Online, I believe. So, we will see. Started to play Elder Scrolls 3 in Morrowind in 2019. And I love it. Yeah, Morrowind's a good game. You will love it forever. I believe Elder Scrolls 6 will be about the fall of the Lost Towers. As far as we know, many have been deactivated, and if they all go, then Mundus will die. Well, probably. I've heard some things about the tower theories, but people were really angry when I tried to do that on stream, when I tried to say what I understood about the towers. So, we're not gonna talk about the towers now, but if that's the story, then it would be very interesting. And then the theories about the Thalmor wanting to destroy the towers, it would make sense, and it would make sense why they build up the Thalmor as a sort of side villain next to the main villain in Skyrim, and have them be the main villain in Elder Scrolls Legends, of course. But it would make sense. I hope at least we will see more about the Thalmor, because I want to know more about how it all unfolds. Is Uncle Sweetchair coming this Christmas for 2019? Perhaps, we don't know. Are elves gay? I suppose that some elves could be gay. I know the thing you're meaning, but I refuse to acknowledge it. Is the technology ever gonna advance further in the Elder Scrolls Online? That's a good question, and it's something I did not cover in my why Elder Scrolls technology is not furthering. But will it ever be furthered? Well, that depends. Because as I explained in my video on why technology is pretty much stagnant in the Elder Scrolls universe, it's because we have magic, which is basically a replacement for the technology for many people. I mean, that's hugely oversimplifying it. You should watch the video because I go into it way more in detail. However, if there would ever be a group of people that were forced out of magic, like they can't use magic or whatever, then they would see themselves needing to advance their technology. So I think that if something like that happens, there's a big chance that they would advance technology further. Or if somebody once again rejects magic or rejects the gods like the Dwemer did. But I don't think that it's gonna happen in the my English in the near future. I was looking for that. Was Pelinal Whitestray gay? I think that was kind of confirmed, right? I don't know. Somebody in that story was, at least. That's something. Can you show what you have drawn so far? Maybe some other maps or pictures? Well, sure. Wait, let me show you the thing I showed at the beginning of the stream when there were like just 20 people in. Wait. Like, this is my usual style. You have to piece it together, but you know, you get the idea, I think. I recently had a pretty great map, but I sent it to someone in the United States as a gift, so I don't have it right here. That's the picture that's on the thumbnail. I can put a picture of it in the stream but I'll have to get it from my phone. So I'm sorry if that's like annoying that I don't have it. You know color? Well, I tried one with color. Unfortunately, my camera is like stuck to my thing, and if it wasn't stuck to my thing, then I could show you like the maps I have on my wall, because I have one that I tried to color. The problem is I am terrible with color and it looks really bad, so I'm not really trying to color anything anymore. Let's see, where was I? Sunhold. Alright, let's see the chat. How the Wood Elves made a kingdom and have cities without growing food or using wood. That has a very complicated answer, something I know have, but I can't really say much about it without giving a very unsatisfactory answer. So, no. Is English your native language, and what accent is that? Well, English is far from my native language. My native language is Dutch. I come from the Netherlands, so that's why I sometimes need to think about some words, or I use really weird terminology, because my English isn't that good, unfortunately. But for 100%, I'm sure that in Elder Scrolls 6 there will be Maik the Liar. Well, I'm also very sure that he will be in there. Oh no, I screwed up. Yeah, don't worry about the dot of Sunhold, because again, I'll be doing everything again in ink, so it's probably gonna be fine. Do you play Elder Scrolls Legends? They have released the trailer for the Isle of Madness expansion. I played Elder Scrolls Legends quite a lot in the past, but at one point I just was satisfied with my deck and I didn't really feel like continuing. I mean, I really like the game and I like playing it against people casually, but I don't really like it competitively or everything. Well, thank you, Scrolls Lady. I think yeah, I did it wrong again. I'm just gonna erase the C before I even continue. Piandone, where the sea elves... Were the sea elves from there? Yeah, Piandone was where the sea elves came from. Well, they originally came from Aldmuris, but they settled on Piandone. Is Caius Casades gay? Why do you want to know if people are gay? I mean, you know that I'm not gonna acknowledge the thing that you want me to acknowledge. I mean, I don't know anything about his sexual preferences. I mean, I'm not gonna acknowledge the thing you want me to acknowledge, because that's offensive. Let's see. We're gonna do... You know what, I'm just gonna continue like this. I'm not gonna erase anything anymore, and then afterwards I'll check what I don't like and I'll do it again. I think that's a more effective strategy than just sticking on one word, because I'm getting really annoyed with the fact that oh no, never mind. I really don't like this C. I'm just gonna do it again. Let's see. Alright, well, it's not ideal because right now it doesn't really seem to work out all too well with the letters, but well, it's fine. It's gonna be fine. Don't worry. Is there a lore explanation on how Martin Septim's narration at the end of Oblivion was possible? If my boy died and became a dragon, well, there's no lore explanation. I think it's just a cinematic out-of-game thing, where he just talks to the player and isn't really talking to anyone. Favorite town / city to visit in-game? Imperial City in Oblivion, by far. I really like the architecture of the Imperial City. Don't ask me why. It's just been my favorite place for like forever. There are 2 trolls in the chat. Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, one of my moderators isn't there, but can I like mute them? User timeout, yeah. I can do that. I feel so much power. Alright. Favorite mod for any Elder Scrolls game? Skyrim has a farm mod where you can just you go like this with a hoe on the floor and you can just get a farm thing, and I just spent with that mod I spent 2 days, like real days, just farming in Skyrim and selling my spoils. So that's by far my favorite mod. Imperial Knowledge, would you like big scale battles in Elder Scrolls 6? Yeah, I think that would be amazing. Wait, this music is pretty loud. I'll put it down a little bit. What do you think of the Beyond Skyrim series? They are amazing, but the only thing that I don't like about Beyond Skyrim is the fact that people keep telling me that they are canon, but they are absolutely not. They are amazing, but they are not canon. Was an Elder Scroll even used in the main questline of Oblivion? No, unfortunately not. Imperial Knowledge, destroying trolls using facts and Kim. No, absolutely not. Is the Empire an absolute monarchy? To a certain extent, yes. Yeah, to a certain extent they are, in the fact that the Emperor can usually circumvent the Elder Council. But they've basically been at odds with, not really, what's the English word? They've basically been fighting over power through the ages. So certainly in the Septim Dynasty there were moments when the Elder Council had more power, where the Emperor had more power. But in the end it's more or less an absolute monarchy. But in some eras it became a little bit less absolute, if you get my meaning. Are you still playing Skyrim in 2019? I do. I am currently playing... Wait, let me see. Yeah, I'm currently at full Skyrim, at level 46 on my most recent save. I don't exactly know what I was doing. I mean, it's a couple of weeks ago since I played, so don't ask me. Constitutional monarchy? Well, definitely not a constitutional monarchy, as the Emperor still has a lot of power. An Elder Scroll didn't even appear in the main series before Oblivion. Didn't they? Wait, I'm trying to remember if they appeared in Morrowind, but I can't really remember. I think they did though. Wait, let me just look it up. Sorry, I wanna know now. Elder... Wait, they didn't. Oh. Did you buy Fallout 76? I did not. Because, you know, I was at first pretty much sold on the idea of multiplayer Fallout, because me and a friend of mine really liked Fallout 4, and we basically played it together, more or less, with both doing a little bit the same things and then sharing experiences. But we were like, let's just wait how the reviews turn out before we pre-order it, and then, you know, shit happened. So, no, unfortunately not. I did not pre-order Fallout 76. The Elder Scrolls was only in the Thieves Guild quest in Oblivion. Yeah, I know. Are there parliaments in Elder Scrolls lore? If so, would you do a video on them? Well, if there were, I would definitely do a video on them. But the closest thing that we have to a parliament is the Elder Council, where they presumably vote. And we also have some sort of council in the Somerset Isles, according to Runil, like the priest in Falkreath, who was formerly a member of the Thalmor, or well, not a member, but like a battle mage in servant of the Thalmor. And he said that there's some sort of council that rules the Somerset. So we have some sort of parliament-like thing, but we don't have like an elected parliament, if you mean like that. So Bethesda clickbaited us with the title of the Elder Scrolls games. Yeah, more or less, with the Elder Scrolls. Will there be a 10th Divine? Well, depending on who you ask, it's very possible that new Divines will be added. I mean, I don't have enough knowledge to really say to you conclusively whether or not it will happen. But I think that I heard from someone who knows more about it than I do that it's possible. But it's just not that I cannot tell you how it will be possible, unfortunately. Alright, so here oh no, I'll have to erase everything again. I'm so disappointed with myself right now. Sorry, I'm not really watching the chat at the moment because I want to get Shimmerine right. Can you believe it? I made a map for someone once, like a map like this, and I did everything, like the entire map of Tamriel was finished because it was all of Tamriel. The only thing was, and if you're in the chat right now, Mr. Goodfella, because I made it for him. Well, he didn't tell me to do it, but I did it anyway. I did the Shimmerine wrong. I wrote Shimmerain. And I know that the Somerset Isles was his favorite province, so I did the entire sheet over. Sorry, that's something that I wanted to tell you. Yeah. Can you talk about the Nationalist Party in Blackmars and the conflicts between Morrowind and Blackmars, please? I've talked about it in several videos, so I would... What's this music? It's really loud, but let's see, the audio levels. It's not that bad for you, I think. If it's really bad with the music, just tell me. But I talked about it quite a lot. I did a video on the Enslil, the current ruling party. I really recommend checking that out because it literally has everything that we currently know about them, as far as I know. And I also did a video on the war between Morrowind and Blackmarsh. Now, apart from what's in that video, I can't really say much about them, because to my knowledge it's all that we know about them. But something that I would like to say about them is that I personally don't think there will be a new war anytime soon between them. I fucked up again. Oh, really? I'm just looking at myself writing an I, and it's just literally not what I need to write. It's because I'm distracted, okay? Leave me be. You know what, at this point I'm just gonna leave it here. And once I'm going to do ink, I'm gonna make sure that everything is good straight. The Imperial City is ridiculous. It's supposed to be the biggest city on Tamriel, but it's so small. Even the small village I live has more people. Yeah, I think that I covered something in my video on the population on Tamriel. The fact that everything you see in the game is very smaller. Like, you see only the relevant people. I always say something like that. Like, for every NPC there's probably 100 or 100 others. Mr. Yui, Zork, is it okay if I come over now? You know, try. If you can get my door open. I know where you live, Mr. Yui, so... Trying to draw a map and talk might be a good ad simulator. What do you mean? Look at it from my side. You don't have to practice for math exam. Well, I don't, but I do need to practice for my new international organizations exam, because I just heard that I failed that exam today. So yeah, that's not ideal, like far from it. But I still wanted to do this stream anyway. Oh no, no, this is completely wrong. This is not how I have to write the L. Far from it. Sell these maps, Sork. Well, if I do that, Bethesda ninjas will come and kill me. Will the Empire conquer Tamriel? Well, they've done it before, but I doubt that the current Empire will do it, simply because they don't really have the assets to do so. Not yet, at least. I mean, we don't know what will happen. But I think I'm pretty confident in saying that they won't right now. No, I'm not gonna be able to fit Lilendril in there, so I'm gonna put it on top of it, I think. Or no, I'll erase this part of the map, and I'm going to continue with the L here, I think. Let's see. Live... You know, the stress of doing this live is really not all that good for my concentration on this map, unfortunately. But I hope that it will still turn out good. Good luck with the exams. Yeah, thanks, Periodics. Thanks a lot. ADD. Attention Deficit Disorder. Oh, never knew that that was a thing. Oh, wait, I know what you mean. Like HDHD, or whatever it is. Is the Imperial Island small? I think that the island is actually pretty big, Ataro, because you have the Imperial City Island in... Wait, I'll just illustrate it with a map. Tamriel... I'll probably have like 5 Tamriel maps on my computer at this point. Right, I'll drop it in the thing. Look. If you look at the map, then you'll see that the Imperial City Island is pretty big. The dot from the Imperial City is really small. I personally think that the Imperial City, like we see it in Oblivion, is really not a good representation of the Imperial City. I think that the Imperial City is, of course, to a way more realistic size. First of all, like it's the biggest city in Tamriel, but I think that all in all, if you take it all together, the Imperial City is probably a big city, but on a big island. But relative to that island, it would still be pretty small, because remember how in the Great War book there was like a passage where they said that there were fierce fights on the Imperial Isle. Well, if it's as small as in Oblivion, then you're not gonna have a lot of battles like with gigantic armies like the Imperial Legion and the Altmeri Dominion fighting forces. You're not gonna have that on that small island. So I personally think that the island of the Imperial City is way bigger. And then, wait, maybe I'll have... Well, I personally think, I'll illustrate it. This is like a separate little thing. I personally think that if like, you know what, yeah, that's the island, and probably this is the city, like in real. Wait, I'll show it to my camera. I think that it's a bit like this, because you have to remember that in lore everything is a lot bigger than it is in game, unfortunately. Imperial Island should be the size of Hungary at least. Well, not that big, but it's still. I like to pretend the people who write history books love exaggerating. Well, yeah, but it's supposed to be a pretty close account. But then again, I don't know, because I wasn't there and neither were we. If the Altmeri Dominion wins the Second Great War, will they try to conquer Tamriel? I don't know, if they have use for it, maybe, but I don't really think that they would be able to conquer Black Marsh. I mean, even the Hordes of Oblivion weren't able to conquer Black Marsh. So, maybe they'll try to at least conquer all the human provinces. That would make some sense. So, can you time out the trolls? You know, I just really don't like it when people troll, and I mean, everybody should say whatever they want, but it's not really the meaning. If you go and do stuff here, that's trolling. Periotics, I'm not sure right now. Did you make a video about the geographical in-lore size of Tamriel compared to the real world? I did not. I thought that I did, because there was a small segment on it in my video on the population on Tamriel, but it used to be way bigger, but I did not even include it in that video for some reason. So I probably found some error with the way that I put it in that video, or I don't know, for some reason I did not include it, so I'll probably do it in the pretty near future, but there must have been a reason why I did not choose to include it in my video on the population size. So I probably did something wrong, so before publishing what I have, I'll first check everything again, because I did some calculations, because there was like a little globe somewhere in one of the games, I believe it was Daggerfall, and there were lines on the map like to show the curvature of Nirn on another map. So lining that up, I was pretty much able to calculate something, but not too much yet. So oh wait, I remember why, because we had the video on the physics where we calculated like the gravity acceleration of Nirn, and my physics assistant, well, not really assistant, but he helped me with the physics, because I had some physics in high school, but further than that I never got. He said, well, with what we have now, what we have calculated now, we can calculate the like actual size of Nirn, and that way I wanted to make it even more precise than what I had. So that never happened, because that guy and I basically, well, we haven't lost touch really, but he is doing a pretty intensive study, and I've been doing other things in the meanwhile, so I'm sorry, I'll try to pick it up again, because it was a really interesting video. I'll write these later, because I'm done with Somerset names. I'm gonna do the other sheet. Let's see. Why the Hist are not controlling Argonia? Well, the Hist are controlling Argonia, because in the end, the Hist are very much responsible for the existence of the Argonian race. I mean, if the Hist no longer want the Argonians to exist, the Argonians wouldn't exist anymore. So the Hist will always be very much in control. The whole thing with the Infernal City book, where there was still like a couple of rogue histories that were still ruling the Ancehil, so Ancehil, by the way. But I can't really say what the power structure in Argonia is. You would say that since the Argonians are almost fully dependent on the Hist for their procreation, that the Hist would always have the biggest power in Black Marsh. But then again, it seems like the Ancehil have very substantially more power than previous rulers of Argonia. So we would have to see a little bit more about it at this point to say who are currently the boss in... Yeah. What was the value of the gravitational acceleration of Nirn? I don't remember from the top of my head, but I believe it was like, on Earth it was something like 9. On Earth is 9.81. But on Nern it was something like 8 point something. I don't remember. Watch that video. Wait, maybe I have it here on my... Yeah, I think I have it. Wait, documents. I'll look it up for you because I want to know as well. Here's obviously so kilos. Where is it? Oh wait, this is the old document. Let me see if I can find the original one. Alright, so the one that I had was 7.43. Like, that was the gravity acceleration that I concluded for Nern. And I had it checked by several people that know way more about physics than me, and my calculations were right. So that's basically the gravitational acceleration of the engine that Bethesda uses for the Elder Scrolls. So it's technically also the Nern gravity acceleration, since we don't really have much more to go on. The only game I didn't calculate it for was Elder Scrolls Online, because I couldn't use console commands there, unfortunately. Let's see. If Skyrim is an ice wasteland in lore, except for the Reach. Is Skyrim an ice wasteland in lore? I believe that the original lore stated that Skyrim was some sort of an ice wasteland, and to be honest, the north of Skyrim is an ice wasteland. But I don't exactly know how it was with the older games, how Skyrim got depicted. I know that in Elder Scrolls Arena it was basically one big ice wasteland, so I don't know much more about it. And in line with the idea of Daggerfall being roughly the area of Great Britain, like it was advertised. Yeah, that was part of the original calculation that I used, but I felt like we could be way more precise with it if we used the gravity acceleration with it as well. So, again, I have to pick that video up again soon, because I feel really bad about ditching it. But wait, I'll write it down, because otherwise I'll forget it. For sure, wait. That way, whenever I finish... Have you made a video on the fire? I don't know. No, I haven't, because otherwise I would know how to pronounce it. I'll write it down as well to look up it, or to look up what it is, and then I might make a video on it. Was the gravity the same in all the games? I don't remember, but it was close. It wasn't the same, but it was close. Do you think the Capotun will attack Tamriel? It's possible, but I think that Bethesda has more or less moved away from attacks from Akavir and will rather focus on the things on Tamriel. So I don't think that from a perspective where I have to... If you ask me, like, what will Bethesda do? I personally don't think that they will do that, but in lore it would be possible, I think. Alright, so this still isn't very... Somehow the fact that I don't really have the time for it and I have to check the chat makes it that this is all way worse. So I'll probably do it off screen all over again, but you know, I have something to do now. Are you racist to Argonians? No, I am not. Oh no, there's so many chat messages. You think there will be dragons involved in Elder Scrolls 6 now that they've finally made a return to the series? Maybe. They might be there in some shape or form, but I don't think they'll take such a central position as they did in the gameplay of Skyrim. But I think that they might return in some form. What do you think about the Celestials in ESO? I have not seen them yet, so I'll write it down too. I read a question about it earlier, like at the beginning of the stream, but I don't quite know what it is. Would Skyrim be bigger or smaller than the Netherlands? Way bigger. The Netherlands is small. I think the last estimation that I had was that Tamriel would be about as big as Europe. And then, I mean, that was my estimation. Don't pin me down on it, please, because I'm not that good at estimating things. But that would mean that Skyrim is way bigger than the Netherlands. Only thinking that High Rock Well, I don't know. If we take Daggerfall as an example, where they said that the area of Daggerfall was about as big as Great Britain, then still Skyrim would be way bigger than the Netherlands, so yeah, it's bigger. Do you think Akavir or its inhabitants will appear in a future Elder Scrolls game? Well, it's possible. I mean, we've seen a Saci in a game, although they used the model for an Imperial for some reason. Probably laziness. But, you know, it's possible that they might show them. Hammerfell is strong now or not? I think it's stronger than it was as an Imperial province because it has to fight for its own sovereignty. But I still think that the Empire with 3 or, well, 2 provinces, depending on how you see it, will still be a lot stronger than Hammerfell. I mean, it's not a major power, but it's at least better able to defend itself, I think. How Isgrimor go to Sovngarde if he probably was a member of the Dragon Cult? Isn't it so that you can get into Sovngarde either way, whether whatever you do, as long as you die fighting? Something like that. There was also a part in Honor, but I mean, as long as you die in battle or something, you still get into Sovngarde, was the idea, I think. But I don't have that in the top of my head, so don't take it from me rambling on stream, please. Check it in some confirmed sources. Do the Dominion want the Empire or Stormcloaks to win? Neither, because they want the conflict to continue and waste both of the sides' efforts. Stronger out with the Empire, what do you mean? Stronger without Empire, less troops, less power. I mean stronger without Empire, as in they can dedicate that Hammerfell can dedicate its own resources to itself now. Because since it's now a sovereign power on its own, it has to fend for its own defense rather than rely on Imperial legions. Meaning that they would see themselves... I mean, they have a defense force of their own now, meaning that they can just recall the Imperial legions like happened in the Great War. They have their own troops, and they have their own say over the troops, and that's what I mean with that they are probably stronger than... they are stronger as a unit than they were in the Empire. But of course, when they're in the Empire, they're part of a bigger collective, which means that a bigger collective will of course be stronger. But as a unit of that collective, they will be stronger without the Empire than in it. But as a collective union, they will be stronger in the Empire, logically. See those warriors from Hammerfell? They have curved swords, yeah. How old are the Greybeards? I mean, they're regular Nords, so I would say about maybe 60 to 80, depending on what they have. On how old they are. I mean, they are pretty old. Yeah, but they have less power. They used to have their own force and Imperial forces. Yeah, but I mean, those Imperial forces, they weren't really under their command. And previously, they... Wait, okay, let me start this over. To make clear what I mean. Like, Hammerfell under Imperial rule, they had their own garrisons. And they had some armies of their own. But they could always rely on Imperial troops. So whenever they would be attacked, they would always say, hey, give us Imperial troops. Well, now they don't have that to rely on. That they cannot ask for Imperial troops. Meaning that they would see themselves needed to have more of a defense force. Since their original own defense force was not nearly enough. So they would have probably expanded. I mean, it's not really about their potential. It's just about their actions. Because they would do more defensive actions as when they are independent and when they are their own sovereign state. I mean, that's just self-defense. It's basically realist politics, but yeah, I stand by the answer I give. I mean, we can disagree, of course. Where are all the continents on Nirn connected at one point? That's possible, but I don't really know, because we don't really have lore on that. How many Dragonborns have there been? We also don't quite know that. We don't have an exact number, but there have been quite a few. If you count all the Septims, which I don't, because not all of them apparently could shout, if I interpreted the theory correctly, then there would have been quite a few Dragonborns. But there isn't really a good thing. Do you know there's a Total War mod for Elder Scrolls? Can you play it someday? Last stream I played that. The problem is I got so distracted by the game that I could nearly not answer all lore questions. So that's why I'm now doing something less intense. So I can just answer lore questions in general, because that's what I like to do on the stream. I want to play or do something relaxing while I can concentrate on lore questions. Sorry, I had to drink something because my throat was very... Is Morrowind in a stance of total war against the Argonians still? No, I think that they've made peace at some point. Like, they are still feeling hostilities, of course, but they're not really in a stance of total war anymore, because the Argonians, basically, they wanted revenge, they got revenge, and they got, the region at the border, which was swamp, so they probably thought, hey, it was Black Mars. But I don't really think that they are still at war with each other, because... No, I don't think so. I mean, we don't know, so don't take my answer for granted, of course, but that's what I personally think. How does magic really work? Can you control the magicka freely, or are you bound by any limits? I don't know it from the top of my head, but me and Navardi did a video on his channel, which was like a collaboration, where in very early Imperial Knowledge, like with my old microphone, where we examined this, and I quite forgot how it exactly worked. And since I recently have been playing some other games which also had a magical system and I wanted to know how it worked, I don't want to get them mixed up inside my head. So I feel like if I'm going to explain to you now what I remember, that I will mix it up with what I learned from another game. So please look that video up if you want to know more, because I don't want to misinform you about the magic. The Imperial worships Talos, the Stormcloaks do not worship Shore. Well, that's basically because they grew up with Talos. I think that if they were really traditional Nords, they might still worship Shore. But the thing is, they just felt that Talos is a part of national pride. And that they just grew up with that idea while they were in the Empire. So that would explain it. I think that they would otherwise, of course, worship Shore. I mean, if they just started worshipping Shore, it wouldn't even be outlawed by the Dominion. Is your Dutch channel still online? My previous Dutch channel is still online, but it wasn't an Elder Scrolls channel or anything. It was like gameplay, and it was really crappy. So it's not that great. And it's still online, but the videos are mostly offline. I think only the few where I had some good things, I put them on. It had like 200 subscribers at its high point, so it wasn't really something to brag about. I saw something... what did you say, Periodics? I wanted to answer. What other games did you mean? Well, I've been playing Xenoblade as of late, and I wanted to know how the thing with like the blades works there. And it's not really magic, but it works... they have like ether instead of magicka. And that whole system is inside my head, so it's not really magic, but I feel like that I might mess some things up, because some things seem to work the same-ish. If you believe the theories that Talos is a Shazarian, you technically, the Stormcloaks do worship Shore, as they are one and the same. Yeah, if you believe that, and I cannot say if I believe it yes or no, because I don't know too much about the theory, but if you believe that, then it's true. And Ari said, start your videos with Elder Scrolls review. I can do that, but I don't want to do that, because I don't want to copy PewDiePie. What do you think about a game set around Pelennor Whitestrake? That would be really interesting, I think. It could potentially be very interesting. But I personally think that if they do something like that, it's probably going to be like a spin-off game. A bit like, for example, that they would do it in like an Elder Scrolls Legends chapter or something. Or maybe even just like a quest in a flashback in Elder Scrolls Online or something. Oh, I made the H way too big. This isn't good at all. So we're gonna erase it again. I'm probably having to do this entire map all over again soon, but you know, it's been fun. I was like, I made it way too big, and I'll make it even bigger now. Haven. I'm just gonna erase the dot, and I'm gonna put it somewhere else when I finished it. Haven. You know, I really shouldn't make maps live, because I'm not doing this map right. If you look at my previous maps look way better. I'm really sorry. The Elder Scrolls Shadow of Pelennor, okay. Do you draw often? I used to do it a lot. I did it recently with another map that's It's also for someone, and I'm sending it out, but I really want it to be a surprise how it looks. And there's a really small chance that he's currently watching. But if he's watching, I don't want to spoil how the map looks for him. So, you know, oh no, hair review, fuck. I'm sorry. Is the dragon cult extinct? Yeah, from what we know, yes. Sorry, I haven't watched all of your videos. How do you feel about the multiverse theory that ESO brought up with Somerset Isle? It's a hard question for me because I don't know the specifics of that theory. If I knew the specifics, I could tell you more about it, but I don't feel... Listen, all these kind of things where I don't quite know what to say about it, I'm sorry. I'm not really looking at the chat because I really want to get this out. There are some things, a lot of things, where I don't quite know what I'm talking about, and then I'm usually saying, you know, I don't know a lot about it. This is one of these things, and it's not like I don't want to say something about it, but I don't want to misinform you. Like, I know half of it, but if I say something about it and it's like a really controversial subject, I'm really afraid that I'll misinform you. So I'm sorry if it's annoying that I always deflect questions like this, but it's just to make sure that I don't misinform you, because I don't want people to say, yeah, Imperial Knowledge said this or that. Well, I haven't been able to fact check it, because most things in my video are fact checked by multiple people usually. But the things that I say on here, I mean, they're basically what I have in my head, so I'm sorry. But you were kind of curious about my opinions or thoughts. Well, a multiverse theory could be interesting, and I think that at this point it might be necessary to explain some of the conflicting things within the lore. But still, I would prefer if there wasn't, because it would make things even more complicated, and I don't know, some people really like the fact that Elder Scrolls lore is really complicated, but I just really like its rich history, and I don't really give much for all the complications, and you can really see that in my videos also. But I don't know. If they nailed it, then I suppose a multiverse theory could be cool. But somehow I don't really trust Bethesda's writers to do it right. So I'm sorry about that. Alright, I'll fix this whenever I'm working with ink. I prefer the much simpler politics and economics of the Elder Scrolls. Yeah, me too, and that's probably why you're here on my channel. Will Molech Ball try to invade Tamriel again? He might. I mean, there's a possibility that he will. Sorry, my glass was... Oh shit, yeah. Is Dutch hard to learn? Well, not for me, but I heard from other people that's quite hard, and even I make a lot of mistakes in my... If I really... For example, if I do have to do like a paper for the university, I mess up a lot. Because Dutch has a lot of weird rules in the language sometimes. Do you think the Septim bloodline still exists? Yeah. My friend Big E15 lately did a video about that. I really recommend watching that. He analyzed like where they could be even, their ancestors. No, offspring. But it's not true. What happened to the royal household of Eleanor? Either killed or in jail. By the Thalmor, because the royal household of Eleanor used to support the Empire, and they basically locked up or killed all the Empire supporters. So that's probably what happened to them, but I'm not sure, because we don't know they didn't specifically mention the royal household of Eleanor, but they did say that Imperial supporters were basically dealt with in a way like that. So I personally think that that's the way that they ended, killed or in jail. Yeah, I have a problem because I started writing this too close to the border. Erase it all again. Honestly, Dutch sounds like an Englishman trying to speak German. A little bit, maybe. Is there still living in Atmora? Perhaps like polar bears or something, but no intelligent race like humans or elves or Argonians or something. If you call some people intelligent. I mean, I'm trying to not make jokes like that, but I mean, oh no. See, this is what happens, karma. If I try to make jokes on the expense of some race in the Elder Scrolls lore. Okay, it's not perfect, but I'll fix it with ink. I'll promise. Could there still be an undiscovered continent on Lern? Maybe. Is Sotasil racist towards Nwas? Please. I don't know who you mean with Nwas. Wait, the chat's going too fast. I can... Have the Bretons fought any big notable wars or had any notable empires? No, they've basically been part of other empires, but they have fought some notable wars. Like, for example, during the Second Era, there were like these... in the Interregnum, there was like 70 years when there were the Longhouse Emperors, a sort of mini dynasty, and they basically got stopped by the Bretons. So that's from the top of my head one of the few real military accomplishments by the Bretons. I'm Dutch myself and I make mistakes. Let's just say there are a lot of rules. Yeah, I said that. It's annoying, like the D's and the T's, you know? Do you think Altmurus is real? Yeah, I think it is. But I personally think that it's also not the way that it's been depicted. Like, that's just my personal interpretation. Really don't take anything from what I say about Altmurus for granted. But I've mentioned it in the next lore lecture, which is coming up. I personally think that Altmurus is real, but that it's all a bit exaggerated. If that's the right word for it. I think it is. Dutchman, do you get confused with Danish, since we from Serbia get confused with for Russians? I get confused for German a lot for some reason. While German accents are very different, but I get confused for German a lot. And you know, Serbia, my ancestors were from Serbia, so you know, in effect we yeah, never mind, I don't want to know what I want to say there. How strong is Priendone? Not that strong anymore. They were basically wrecked the last time they tried to invade Tamriel. So, I don't think they are that strong at this point. Are the Thalmor controlled by the nobles of the or the aristocracy, or is anyone talented and smart enough allowed into their ranks? We don't know quite how the Thalmor party works. However, I personally think that, you know, in their rise you can see a lot of similarities between another party's rise somewhere in the 20th century. Not really gonna say anything about it further, but I personally think that they were helped to power partly by the aristocracy that wanted the part of the aristocracy that wanted something other than the empire. But I think that at this point they basically rule themselves, and anyone talented is welcome in the party as long as you bring talent to the table and like ruthlessness. But I think that at the beginning they were helped to power by the aristocracy, but that at one point the aristocracy started completely losing control over the Thalmor. But then again, I cannot confirm this as it's not from official sources, but that's what I think, considering the parallels that we have between our own universe with their rise. But please, please, please don't quote this anywhere online like he said this, because it's not true. I mean, it's not canon, it's just my theory, and it's... I mean, I have nothing to base it on, and it's why I basically never mentioned it in any video, because it's my personal conviction, but if I don't have anything to base it on, why mention it anywhere if people are gonna abuse it anyway? I've had that happen, that people like said, yeah, but he said this or he said that, but you know, I'm not canon. Whenever I do a theory or something, I always say this is my theory, but still people keep quoting me for some reason. Which Elder Scrolls game has the best music in your opinion? Strangely enough, I really liked a lot of tracks from Elder Scrolls Legends. Don't ask me why. Like their music in the during the campaign in the menu. I really like that for some reason. But if you mean like mainline, I think I liked Morrowind a lot because of the music that's currently playing, the road most traveled. That makes like the half of the game for me. Let's see the chat. Do you think Fallout is in a different Kalpa? I don't know. It's possible, but you know, I don't know. I don't really like that theory, and I think that even if Fallout and Elder Scrolls were in the same universe, if that was intended or something, then I mean, they don't really influence each other, so I try not to be too... I don't try to, like, hold myself busy with it or anything. I mean, in the Switch version of Skyrim, you have, like, all the Zelda gear in the base game, so does that mean that Skyrim and Zelda are in the same universe? I don't know. I don't really like that kind of crossover theories. I'm sorry. I saw a question, by the way, do you think Yokuda still exists? Maybe we'll see it if Elder Scrolls 6 takes place in Hammerfell. Yeah, Yokuda still exists. I made a video on it. Try. Watch that. Did you buy that pencil? No, I broke it. Don't ask me why. I believe it was like a couple of weeks ago, and I was literally... I tried to pronounce something so often, and I tried like for 5 times, and then at one point I was like, no, I can't do this, and I broke the pencil. Don't ask me why. I'm a really aggressive person. Oh no, there's something wrong with me, I think. Do you view Tiber Septim as a person worth of divinity? Good question, and I think no, personally. But, you know, people are allowed to disagree on that. Were the Yokudans really from a different Kalpa cycle? I personally do not think so. I went over the way the Yokudans probably, in my opinion, when it came to be, in my lore lecture that will come soon, I hope, when I have the time to do the second reading for the people that missed the first one, the patrons. But, I don't know. Wait. I think I have it right here. No, never mind. The binder is somewhere else. Is it in my drawer? No. If it was there, then I'll show you what I meant. But okay. I'll tell you real quick what I think that happened. Wait, no. It's in my video on the... No, it's in my first lore lecture. Watch that one. I explain in very much detail how I think the Yokudans came to be. What about the second Nordic Skyrim Civil War? What do you mean? Like the one in the Second Era? If the Empire wins the Second Great War, will Hammerfell rejoin the Empire? Not voluntary, I think. But then again, we don't know what will happen. It's possible if the Empire like saves Hammerfell during an invasion. Maybe they are grateful enough to like rejoin when there would be economic benefits. Maybe. But I think that once you're independent, you'll not really want to give that independence up. Certainly not if you had to fight for it as hard as Hammerfell had to. So I don't think so. Do all of the human races on Tamriel use the same language? I think so, yes. However, I think that they use different dialects in the same way that like English has different like accents, like that. Or maybe it's like German, Danish, and Dutch, like all the same origin language. But I personally think that they all speak the same language. I mean, the elves probably did. What are Thalmor purges on Valenwood? That's basically the Thalmor rooting out all the rebels in Valenwood. Like everybody who's against the Empire is just getting killed or either jailed. If Bethesda hired you to write lore for the Elder Scrolls, would you do it? No. Because I know that a lot of people, I mean, the people that are subscribed to my channel are basically almost everybody agrees with my interpretation of lore in the way that I look at the more surface lore, as in you don't have to make it complicated if it's not complicated. Like there are people that immediately start searching for some very far-fetched solution to something, while I first look at the surface and see, well, is there a more simple solution? That I try usually to do with my channel. But I know that there's a lot of people that completely don't like that, and I don't want to ruin the Elder Scrolls experience for other people. Plus, I really like researching the Elder Scrolls a lot, and if I wrote it myself, I wouldn't be able to research it because I wrote the thing. So, no, I wouldn't accept such an offer. There was an army of voice users question. Can that question please be repeated? Because I wanted to see it, but then it disappeared. What's the difference between the Colovians and the Nibonese? Basically, they're ancestors, if I have it correctly, and their culture. Because the culture of Colovia is way more militaristic, and the culture of the Nibben Bay, so from the Nibonese people, is way more mercantile. What are your thoughts on how they use Talos to retcon how Cyrodiil was supposed to look like? It's just, I think that, I mean, for the people that don't know what he was talking about, in Morrowind and such, you get the impression that Cyrodiil is a jungle, and then suddenly it isn't. I personally think that they just use Talos and his divine powers as some sort of excuse, like, to make it like into standard medieval. Because the game Oblivion wouldn't have sold nearly as much if it was a jungle. Because, I mean, the audience of the new console generation, the PS3 and the Xbox 360 at that point, they were just longing for something medieval, open world-ish. And I think that if it was a jungle, it wouldn't have sold as much. So, you know, it's something, like, it had to happen. But I don't know if I'm happy with it. If the Nords still had the ability to use the Thu'um in mass, would they be able to conquer Tamriel if they just had armies of voice users? Well, I think they would certainly have a powerful army, but I don't know if they immediately would be the strongest power on Tamriel. But, yeah, if they had an entire army of voice users, they would certainly be a power not to be trifled with. Who else is a flat learner? Well, I'm not anymore, but I used to be. You think people outside the Empire started using levitation magic again? Probably in lore it's still being used in other places, but we will never see it back. Simply because of gameplay limitations. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's probably true. Also, do you support the Empire, and what is your view on Talos worship? I support the Empire because I know that without the Empire we won't defeat the Thalmor. And I think the Thalmor need to be defeated. I'm sorry, Thalmor supporters, but I think so. Do you support Hafingar or Eastmarch? Hafingar. I mean, I get why the Stormcloaks rebel against the Empire. I really get it, but I'm trying to look at the bigger picture. Like, I'm not going to defeat the Thalmor with Skyrim, because Skyrim is weak on its own. So, you know, and plus I really like Imperials, man. I don't know, I like their lore. What lore race would you like to be playable in a future entry? The Marmer, so the Sea Elves. Why has no one had the idea to use the skeleton key to open the vault in the Rennie Tower? Probably because that's not possible. It's like one of those things where I think the skeleton key wouldn't even work. But that's my interpretation, of course. I always felt like imagining the center of the Empire as a large entire continent as a jungle-like thing was kind of not fitting. So I'm happy with what Cyrodiil is now. Yeah, me too. I'm happy with what Cyrodiil is now. I'm really happy with it. But I think that a jungle would also have been interesting in its own way. But I mean, we're far past the point where they can bring it back. So, yeah. What if we bought all the bandits from Skyrim? What if we bought all the what? I don't understand your question. Let's see. We're gonna do another city name. Corinth. I'm not happy with this map. The letters are way too big. Where do you think Elder Scrolls 6 will be set? Hammerfell. What can you say about the Synod if they are strong? I think that the Synod and the College of Whispers together are very strong if they would bundle their power. But I don't know quite much. We don't know too much about the Synod or the College of Whispers at all. I mean, they tried to expand upon it in Beyond Skyrim, but we don't know too much about it. You should do a vid explaining the Dragon Breaks. Yeah, I talked about that before. Like, I don't feel qualified to do so. Oh, there are so many. Sorry, there are so many comments. I really can't follow all of them. Like, I tried to read one and then it disappeared. Did Tiber Septim commit mass executions? I don't know, but I do know that he committed some war crimes on the Summer's Isles, so that's not too good. Did you see the leaked Elder Scrolls 6 gameplay? Like, what leaked gameplay? As far as we know, there isn't even like a world map yet, so there can't really be leaked gameplay. And if there is, email it to me, please, because I want to curate it. Is it possible for someone to use a large-scale war after all those deaths using a soul trap? Wait. To capture those souls and cast a massive spell, massive enough to wipe out an entire population. Isn't that what they wanted to do with like the culling prophecy? Yeah, like use all the... They killed everybody in the Imperial City, that was the plan from Lord Narafin. And then basically unleash a Daedric hell upon Cyrodiil. I think that was the idea, to like use the soul energy of those people to keep open the Oblivion Gate. I think that was the idea, but I don't know exactly anymore. I know there's a lot of lore and speculation, but do you think Periite will mount Akatorsh in the next Kalpa? I don't know too much about that. I mean, I can just say something about it right now, but I know that whatever I'm saying, I mean, it's not with the knowledge base required to say something about it, so I won't. It's prototype gameplay, not real textures. Well, we'll look it up. And no real map, just a testing map, okay. Wait, let me just look it up. Elder Scrolls 6 leak. Well, all I see is from this one guy who said that he received death threats over its Elder Scrolls 6 leak, but I heard from other people that that guy's just an attention seeker. So, I don't see anything. So, you know, I do see that a Dutch company is already baiting us into pre-ordering the Elder Scrolls 6 for 60 euros, and I'm not gonna pre-order that bear, because I'm probably never gonna get anything. Is Orsinium a country or scattered tribes in Skyrim and Hammerfell? There's an actual city, Orsinium, like a city-state. It's, as far as we know, it's still part of the Empire, and it's somewhere on the border with Hammerfell. Sigic Order, we talked about it in the past, right? On the stream? I don't know. How powerful is Maroon's Dagon if an aspect of Akatorsh can kick his ass? It's mentioned in the lore that 8 Divines basically gave up much of the power when creating Nirn. Yeah, but you have to remember that when Maroon's Dagon enters our realm, he becomes weaker, and when we would try to enter his realm, we would become weaker. I'm talking about the spirits, so the Aedra and the Daedra, of course. That would mean that because Maroon Dagon wasn't killed, he was still there. It was just an aspect of Maroon's Dagon. So that's something you have to do. Is it possible for Daedra to become Aedra? No, because they are both like the same sort of entities. Just Aedra means our ancestors and Daedra means not our ancestors. So it's not really. What happened with the Durrani? Could they still be around somewhere? I don't know. I honestly have to say to you that whatever I'm saying about this right now, if I'm gonna say anything about it, it's gonna be wrong, because I literally never studied the subject. I'm sorry. Why is Orsinium being destroyed so often? Because people hate orcs. For some reason. Who were the Sigic Order? They were like on this island next to Somerset. I mean, there's a lot of videos about them. I would watch something, because those videos probably explain it more than me. Are you from Dordrecht? No. But I study in Leiden, so if you're ever there. Do you think there is another race on Tamriel capable of creating another new medium, or their own version of one? I mean, in terms of magic, the High Elves are very advanced in the lore, so I think that if there's anyone able to do it, they would be, but not in the technological way like the Dwemer did. And do you think the Dwemer will return? I don't think so. Maybe another, like, survivor Dwemer like Yagroom Bagarn. Maybe we'll see one again, but I don't think that the map is the map close to done, or are you just taking your time with it? Oh, it's not far from done. I mean, look at this. I have to this is an empty sheet. I have to completely ink it. I was thinking that I would be able to closely finish it like in this stream, but I'm not gonna be able to finish it because I'm almost busy for 2 hours now, and I was hoping to at least start with the ink, but I don't think we'll reach that. And I think that I'll probably do this entire map over because the letters are way too big. Somehow I can't really concentrate on writing when I'm trying to look at the chat as well. And I mean, this is just, I don't know, I know that it's better than just writing random shit, but if you compare it to what I did in the past, like, wait, let me show you, like this, I mean, this is way better, so I'll probably do it over anyway, but I just wanted to have something to do while talking to you guys. It's really a shame because the one that I did, I think, the best job on, I recently sent that one to the States to someone as a gift, so I'm sorry, I can't show you that one. Maybe if he's in the chat he can send a picture or something, I don't know. Is Orsinium in ESO the second Orsinium, and in 4th era there almost was a 3rd one? Well, there still is a Orsinium as far as we know. Did you know we fought a sword singer in ESO? It's documented on some videos on YouTube, but you can make a video on sword singing. I considered doing a video on sword singing, but I believe that someone else that I know quite well, I don't know, one of the guys that I work with also did a video on sword singing, and it was pretty good, but I don't remember who it was, so I'm sorry. Have any other races other than the Nords, Imperials? Have any other races other than the Nords, Imperials and High Elves had any significant empires? Yeah. The people from Valenwood had the Camoran dynasty, which had a significant empire at one point. Do the Dragon Theocracy know tonal architecture? I don't know. If not wrong, the Dragon Priest Massacre are indestructible at all. It's very possible, but I don't think. Which Elder Scrolls game was your first? Technically Morrowind. But at the time I did not play it too much, so I don't know. Fudge Muppet just did a video on sword singing. Alright, watch that. I don't know, I don't watch Fudge Muppet, so I can't really say if it was a good video or not. I know that the other video that I was mentioning was good at least. I don't know this one. Where do you think the Dwemer disappeared to? I personally think the Void, but I don't have anything to back that up, unfortunately. I mean, that's my personal interpretation of things. But then again, when I say something and I say, you know, I don't know for certain, then you really don't have to quote me on it. Like, I said it before, but I see that we have some more viewers than we had then. I have said things in the past where I was like, this is a theory. It's not canon at all. And then people started quoting it in like Discord servers, like, he said this, and I'm like, I said this is a theory. I'm not saying it's true, so whenever I say something, take it with a grain of salt. Is the map close to done? I just answered that question, Gennady. Like, it's far from done. I'd still have to ink the entire thing, but I'll probably do that on another stream or just off camera. Dude, stop lying. You clearly watched them. You even stole one of their videos. No, I didn't. I watched like 5 of their videos, maybe. Which video did I steal from Fudge Muppet? Seriously, I've had accusations that they stole shit from me, and therefore I've had quite intensive email contact with the guys to clear it up, but I don't really watch them at all, so which video are you talking about? Do you like mods? Yeah, I do. Sorry, I'm reading previous questions. I'm really Maslinger. Which video do you mean? To my knowledge, I have never really watched any of them at all. I mean, he isn't saying anything at this point, so we'll see later. All right. Could the Empire and Piennomen make an alliance? They could. I mean, technically, any state could make an alliance with any state. But I don't think it's likely. I mean, maybe against the Thalmor. But even then, I think it's pretty far-fetched. So I think no. I don't think the Piennoneans and the Empire will ever ally. But that's my... Janus Hasseldor? Did they do a video on Hasseldor? Wait, let me check. If so... They don't even come up. No, at least not in Google. Wait, maybe if I'll Google it in YouTube. I mean, if I search it in YouTube. Janus Hasseldor. I don't see anything on it. I see something from Zarek on it though. Do you mean Zarek? I don't see anything. Never mind. At least I haven't watched anything from them on it, so I'm sorry, but let's just talk about lore again. This is really confusing for me. To my knowledge, I never really watched Fudge Muppet, so it would be very far-fetched to think that I even... I don't know. I mean, they're nice guys, and I have had email contact with them a lot, because we have these kind of things where we get accused of stealing each other's content, like right now. But I haven't really watched them at all. So, I don't know. Oh, I'm fucking it up again. But then again, I'll fix it in ink once it's done. I hope. Was any of the great plagues from the different eras not created by magic intervention? We don't know exactly how the plagues came to be, to my knowledge. Or at least I don't know exactly how the plagues came to be. So I can't tell too much about it. Seems like they were just trying to bait you. Well, I don't know. I'm really concerned because I try to be authentic. So I take every complaint seriously. And I know that people abuse it, but still, I try to take it to. I try to take complaints like copying seriously, because I feel like copying someone else's content is worse than just doing uninspiring content. I mean, I've been trying to do like my own approach to things, so I don't get accused of these kind of things. So, but I still keep getting them. So you know. Okay, so I have to fix this later with ink, because like this D, it's just completely... No, I'm just gonna erase it. I'm gonna fix it now because it's annoying to me. It's a little better, but still that L is also fucked up. I'll erase the rest later. Don't worry about it. Is Dutch Slavic? No. Is the canon of the Elder Scrolls... in the canon of the Elder Scrolls, who do you think will win the Skyrim Civil War? I think the Empire, but then again, we don't know. What's the Empire's official name other than the Empire? To my knowledge, it's the Cyrodiilic Empire, but we don't know about it. Is the Godhead canon? To my knowledge, it's not canon, but it's a theory that's very popular and very likely according to some people. But I haven't studied it enough to tell you how likely I think it is. Because I can tell you it's unlikely, I can tell you it's likely, but neither will be based on facts. So, unless you want me to talk bullshit or something, but I do that a lot, it seems. Let's see. Alright. I think we had nearly every city now, except for the ones that overlap. Did the Snow Elves build cities with Stalrim? No, to my knowledge not. I don't know. All the info you and YouTubers said get come from the exact same lore base. Yeah, exactly. It's true. I mean, there's you're bound to overlap at some point, but still, I like to at least try to take my own take on the lore, so there would be no reason. Do you think Vivek will return, or if its disappearance will be explained? I hope its disappearance will be explained, because I don't think that he will return. I saw something about someone asking if I thought that he went to Akavir, and that seems to be a popular theory, but I don't know. I honestly don't know. There's no real canon in the games. There's no real canon. The games are canon, so everything you can do in the game is canon. Well, not exactly, but you have a point. There's like a whole theory on it, but... okay, I'm doing this. You have like the theory that the things that you hear afterwards are always canon that the Dragonborn did it. For example, the main quest, the Dragonborn always did that. However, you have like the quests, like for example the Thieves Guild quest, those things happened, but they were not done by the Dragonborn, they were done by someone else. Like, there was an example with like a Soulstime quest where somebody said, well, someone this or this, but they did not mention the Nerevarine. I believe that was the case. I think people try to claim that other people steal each other's theories. That happens though. When will the Second Great War start? If either side makes a blatant provocation, or if either side thinks that they are strong enough to defeat the other side. I mean, if the Empire provokes the Thalmor for some reason, I mean, they are bound to attack. Or if the Thalmor, or the Empire even, think that they are strong enough to take on the other side, it will also start. Because both sides don't really like each other, as we know. Okay, I'm completely butchering Skywatch. I'm not even gonna finish it. You know what? I think that I'll stop drawing the map now. I'll finish it later, maybe on another stream. I'll answer some last lore questions, like I'll ignore everything that's been said in the chat right now and ask your question now if you want to know something. I'll look at the new things that get asked and I'll answer one or two of them, and then I'll stop, because my throat is really painful at this point. Let's see. Has anyone entered the void and returned? I don't know. Honestly, I've asked the same question myself, but I never really researched into it. I don't know. Will there be a new raid in the next expansion? I don't know. I don't focus on Elder Scrolls Online too much. I think you mean Elder Scrolls Online. Do you think the Capotun will invade Tamriel? Would they win? I don't know exactly how powerful they are at this point. If there's any information on it, I'll look it up for you, but I don't think there was really much information on it. Do you think we will ever visit Yokuda? No. I think that if Elder Scrolls 6 is set in Hammerfell, we might see them in like a flashback. So we might see Yokuda in a flashback to what once was. But we won't really be playing on Yokuda as in our permanent place to play. That's what I think, at least. What sort of plot would you prefer for Elder Scrolls 6? A war, a plague, etc.? I would like it to be, I think, a war. That would be interesting. If they manage to upgrade the engine significantly, so they manage to do it with that you can have more than 10 NPCs without the entire thing glitching, then I would like to see a war. Otherwise, something more interesting. Do you think Sadia is a war criminal that outed Tannet to the Thalmor? Yeah, I think Kamatu is right. Why aren't the Thalmor dead? Because I haven't gotten the chance to kill them yet. Do you think anything about the Vampirium Order? No, sorry, I don't know anything about it. I've never even heard of it. I'm sorry. Is there anything to the theory that Fallout and Skyrim are in the same universe, or is that just some weird hype? I personally think that it's not the case. But as I've gone over previously in this stream, even if it's the case, I wouldn't pay too much attention to it, because they still don't influence each other. And I personally think it would break a lot of what I like is fun about both universes, so I don't know. What's Elsewhere's contribution to the Altmeri Dominion? the fact that they can march over their land and thus have a very good strategic position opposite of Cyrodiil. Do you think Saci are straight up snake people or just humanoid with reptile characteristics? I think sort of humanoids. Because we see one of the Saci in like a memory thing in Oblivion, where you see like a ghost of it. And that's an Imperial model, but still they used a human, so it's probably humanoid. Could the Empire ask the Argonians for help against the Dominion? Yeah, they could ask, but I don't think they would help, because they like their neutrality so far. Why haven't the Falmer died of starvation yet? Because they... If you go into like the Falmer ruins, you can see that they actually have their own system where they can to feed each other, like with the eggs of the Chaurus. They eat that kind of things. How powerful are Glamourial witches? Well, they are pretty powerful, but I don't quite know what to compare them to at this point. Do you think Jigalak will return, or is he simply dead? I think we will hear something from him at least. I think. What do you think about Bethesda's actions lately with Fallout 76? It worries me, but I'm not giving up on everything yet. Do you think Bethesda / Square Enix, why Square Enix, will do a good job in Elsewhere with the new ESO chapter? I hope, but I don't know. We'll have to see some gameplay first before I can say anything about it. The most powerful vampire bloodline in Cyrodiil. Oh, those guys. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they are pretty powerful. Playable slowed. I don't know if I would want that. Hold, where do we see a Saci in Oblivion? You see like an Ekaviri guy, which was from like the old Dragon Order, right? It's been a while since I've played Oblivion. Wait, let me search it up. You can see, or wasn't that the guy? No, it wasn't. Oh, never mind. I was confused. But I think they're humanoids. Because they were apparently riding on horses. Do you think that 500 Nords can really take the entirety of the Snow Elves? I don't know, man. It happened a long time ago. What's the most mysterious thing in the Elder Scrolls lore? How did Dwemer disappeared? I mean, I think that something. Dragons in my Elsewhere? More common than you think. Okay. Are slots extinct? I think you mean sloats. No, they are not extinct. But with that said, I have caught up with the chat, it seems. So I'm gonna end the stream, since it's been almost 2 hours now and my throat really hurts. I really had a good time. I hope you guys like this kind of format of stream. I basically just drew a map and I completely failed because I wrote the letters way too big from the cities, so I probably have to do everything over again. But that doesn't matter because I had a fun time and I hope you guys too. If you did, you know, watch the video that's going to launch like 1 minute after this stream, because I have a video on on the Khajiit Pantheon standing ready to release like 5 minutes after the stream. So watch it. And with that said, I really appreciate that all of you have been watching, and I really want to thank the person that donated so much. It's really bad. I kind of forgot your username because I saw so many usernames now. But really, please contact me. And yeah, thanks so much, and thanks everybody for watching, and you know, those kind of thing. Thanks Brady. Sorry. I will see you all later. Bye bye.